There's Family Like the Ghost. In the background, you hear my alter ego, Josephine Electric, tearing up the song Gloveless Punk Pug. And this song is our exploration into sonic dissonance. And because we use analog hardware synths along with digital synths where appropriate, we've always been inspired by a punk aesthetic. And so some of our favorite bands from the past, Sex Pistols, Buzzcocks, early Talking Heads. And then you would get like Joy Division, Huskadoo, The Replacements. So I'm a big fan of that kind of power. And they even get into, Riot Girl acts, like Juliana Hatfield, Liz Phair, with her girly sound. And so what happens with Josephine Electric is it's this kind of like this love of bands like the Blake Babies and Juliana Hatfield and Liz Phair aesthetic, also with the kind of vocal, kind of Bowie-esque nature of Tori Amos. We've kind of merged a lot of different genres and kind of what we used Josephine Electric's female persona to give this kind of Riot Girl aesthetic, like a Sleater Kinney type of thing. That we just appreciate that, and we found that when we use our Josephine Electric voice, we get more reception, a better reception than just using our Phantom voice, which is kind of strange, but that's what's happened, and we've kind of gone with it. So you've heard it in the background. That's one of the songs in this particular episode. The other song I'm playing in the background is called Flip Sides. And Flip Sides is another sonic dissonance track. But we'll get into, we'll use that as a background for now. So Gloveless Punk Pug is really using our Mother 32 from Moog and its 32-step sequencer. And we tied it into the DFAM, and then we also tied it into our Arturia Mainboard 2S, which actually has a big patch bass similar to what's on the Mother 32 and on the DFAM. And you can play with the clocks on these semi-modular synths, and you can have them do all kinds of interesting, what people would do in a DAW. They would go and they would do clips and then bounce them around. On these analog synths, you can do that, but you're doing it through controlled voltage. And you can have things kind of kick off at the end of a sequence and kick off another sequence. And it's all analog. It's not, you don't see a screen, you don't see the bars. You kind of use your musical instincts. From what you hear is what you get. Kind of like in the computer world, what you see is what you get. Well, what you hear is what you get. And you can play the filters and you can play the knobs on these analog synths, and what you get is kind of a point in time art rock kind of concept of, you're a painter and you're doing that painting and you're layering in that moment, like an abstract painter. And that's the way we look at doing this music. So a lot of it is kind of point in time. Maybe you can't exactly recreate it, but because we use our digital recorder from Zoom, we've actually been able to play these songs, even though they're very special in that, kind of point in time. You're not going to exactly get your Moog to act the same way all the time. It's kind of hard to do. But you can run the tape through the digital tape. And then if you track it, you can mute and unmute tracks, kind of like an OPZ. And on an OPZ, you can mute and unmute tracks. And then you can play with it. Same thing you can do with a Zoom R24. And that's the way we approach our expansive sound. So Gloveless Punk Pug kind of takes this idea that Josephine's talking about some kind of fighter. And he's, not wearing his gloves, and he's a punk, and he's a pug, and he's kind of obnoxious. And Josephine's kind of taking him on, and criticizing him and kind of tearing him down. It's like a diss track. But then she might be attracted to him as well, because sometimes she's attracted to what she should run away from, or not get into. So that's what this song's about. And it's very interesting in its sonic structure. It's got a lot of what we call strange modulation from what I just said by playing with these Moogs. And one of the cool things on that track is there's the System 1M from Roland, which is an analog behavioral modeling synth. And we're just using the natural state of it. It can be a plug out, which means it can actually become like a System 100 or an SH101. And you can do a lot of really interesting things, because the really cool thing about the Roland, it actually has sliders on the envelopes. that actually let you visually map out the envelope generators. And it's got really interesting routing that's kind of based on the history of Roland modular sets. If you go back to System 100, System 700, System 500s, they have very interesting modulation capabilities, and their oscillators don't sound like Moogs. They don't sound like like Roland's. Well, they are Roland, but they don't sound like Prophets. They don't sound like Oberheims. They have a very, very distinctive Roland sound. And what we find with the System 1M, it can do very interesting, like vibrato. It can do very interesting portamento, legato, decrescendo, crescendo type things. And they kind of tend to lend themselves to atmospheric manipulation. And what we do is we actually have a Arturia BeatStep Pro, and we're actually live triggering the sounds. And then sometimes what we're also doing is playing the filter, where we're changing some of the aspects of the modulation. Maybe we changing the waveform in real time, or changing, adjusting the filter, or adjusting the pitch and bringing it up and down to do a very dramatic decrescendo. So it's really cool what you can do with these synths, and both these songs have that. And the flip side is the same type of flip sides, girls and dudes. It basically, Josephine kind of talking about how, her nature is interesting because, I'm a guy playing her as like an actor, like a method actor. And so Josephine, has this male and female side, and I have a male female side because that's we're both one and the same. So we're talking about the kind of flip sides of the coin. You're, both sides, the dark side of the moon, the light side of the moon. It's kind of taking all these ideas, black and white. It's just this whole kind of Gemini vibe, and we're using to great effect again the System 1M. You can hear it very distinctively. It's what's kind of cutting through the mix, and that's a digital synth, but it has a lot of analog capability. And we use it because of its hardware nature. It's very powerful in what it can do. So it's a complement to our Moogs and our Rolands. Our other Roland, which is the Juno, which is our straight poly synth that we use for pianos and guitars and pads. But the System 1M has been something we've been using since Something Wicked, and we're very much into that machine. We'd love to get a System 8 because it's just a more advanced version of the System 1M. But then we've been looking at the Jupiter XM, and in some ways it's kind of lost some of the capability of the System 8 because it doesn't have all the knobs and sliders available. But the Jupiter X kind of looks like it will be the full evolution of that idea because it's actually got the same sonic creation structure of the Jupiter 8, which is one of the best workflows on a hardware synth or poly synth. It's been replicated by many companies, including like UDO with their Super 6 coming up. It's got that kind of workflow. And, if anybody's ever looked at Jupiter 8, it's exactly the kind of workflow you want if you're going to do sound design. And in a way, it's a polyphonic version of what the Moog, Mini Moog does. From left to right, it's very clear when you're designing a sound what you're doing. And it's very immediate. And that's why, bands like Emerson Palmer, Rick Wakeman, Bernie Worrell were able to use it on stage because it's easy to get into. Compared to the modular synth, it's a lot harder. You can make a lot more mistakes when you're trying to get to patches. But the Jupiter 8, did have patch memory, but it also had the ability to tweak a sound immediately and make it yours right there. It's like, being able to tune a guitar in real time, and get to where you need to be right away without menu diving. So we're very excited about these two songs. Let us know what you think with the voice memo. The voice memo feature is pretty cool, but we haven't had a lot of people use it. And be aware on Anchor FM if you want to leave a comment on this episode, not something crazy. No hate. If you want to do hate, just ignore the episode and don't listen. But if you have something productive to say, something constructive to say, please leave a voice memo. If you're a band and you want to get interviewed, leave your Facebook handle or your Instagram handle, and we'll do a direct message and we'll schedule you. There's no cost. And so if you can see, we've interviewed over 30 artists over the last year. We got almost 22,000 listens since 2018. And this Anchor is part of Spotify. So feel confident when you come on to Anchor, you're going to be shown your podcast is going to be available to 11 different platforms, including Spotify podcast and Apple, Radio Public, and many, many more. So check it out and let us know if you want to talk to us. And again, we're a starving artist. So if you feel that you like what we're doing, please become a supporter of the podcast. It's different levels. There's 99 cents. It's $4.99 and $9.99. And also, we have our fourth Family Electric Ghost CD, which we wrote on the Teenage Engineering OPZ, which is called the Flower That Blooms at Midnight in a Tomb. It's also available on all streaming services, but you can get it right now on Amazon.com for $9.99. So check it out. And if you're a Prime member, I think you get free shipping. So check it out. It's a full CD. All of our CDs are still available on Amazon.com. So check it out, and we'll talk to you later.
Contemplate back down. Contemplate it soon. Like the girl that I had grown. Like to play both sides of the moon. Look down, I want the truth. Girl, and the flower blooms at midnight in a tomb. But girl, dude, it's coming soon. Prepare that doom. And the flower blooms at midnight in a tomb. Fingers all night, doom. Both sides, good and good. Like to come together in that room. Flower bloom, and at midnight in the tomb. Both sides, girl and good. Who knows the truth? Way you like to do. Both sides of the moon. And you're consumed. Both sides of the good. Girl in the dude. Flower blooms at midnight in the tomb. We know you like to get screwed. And both sides of the moon. Yourself is consumed. At midnight in the tomb. Both sides, girl and dude. You're gonna be in that room. By you yourself consumed. And you've always been pretty lewd. Why you always been pretty lewd? You're by yourself, you are consumed. You're on both sides, girl and dude. Both sides on the side of the moon. Both sides are really you. Gemini, September and June. No, that's not true. Both sides are you. And a guy and a dude. On the dark side of the moon. consumed. At midnight in night too. On both sides are prelude. A girl and a dude. Know all about you. Both sides are consumed. Yeah, at midnight in night too. Yeah, the flower blows. Yeah, both sides are you. And the looking glass don't be consumed. On both sides, the girl and the dude. At midnight in the tomb. Yeah, both sides are really you. Girl and a dude. Don't be confused. Glass is you. Looking glass, it's you. Both sides are true. On the dark side of the moon. And the other side, it's you. Both sides are true. The girl and the dude. Both sides are you. Girl and the dude. Midnight in that room. That flower blooms. At midnight you're consumed. And by that other you. At midnight you're consumed by your own demons in that room. Both sides are really you. The girl and the dude. Don't get it confused. Both sides are really you. Yeah, the girl and that dude. On the other side of the moon. Light and black are you. Don't get it confused. Both sides are you. Girl and a dude. Light in the room. In the dark of that doom. The light in the room. In the dark of that doom. Both sides are really you. Don't get it confused. On both sides of the moon. The girl and that dude are really you. Don't get it confused. Always been you. On both sides of the moon. That girl and that dude. One is the same. One is the same as you. On both sides of the moon. Girl and that dude. Both sides of the coin are you. Both sides of the coin are you. Both sides of the coin are you. Girl and that dude. Girl and that dude. Don't get it confused. Both sides are really you. It's enough to relieve ya, enough not to see ya, enough not to be, enough not to be. God, love you on thinking that much. Oh, well, you're tough. You are a fighter, punch through. Not ready for that phantasmic stuff. Hello is more than enough. There's no wretched girl out of love. The gloveless pug. Love me not thinking that much. Love, I don't want that kind of touch. Your glove, your left pug. You're a punch from fighter. You don't think on love. Tongue. Oh, you're more than punch drunk. Hello is more than enough. You're so wretched, you're out of love. I don't want that kind of touch. You don't need that kind of drug. Love, you're not thinking that much. Gloveless pug. You're not ready for that wretched phantasmic love. You're not ready for that phantasmic love. You're not ready for that phantasmic love. You're not ready for that phantasmic stuff. Love, not punch from love. It don't mean I can't. Ethereal. Don't be that kind of love. There's only enough. Gloveless pug. No, I'm not thinking that. Don't want that kind of talk. There is love me not thinking too much. Wretched, you're right, love. Love me not thinking too much. So wretched, you're right, love. So wretched, you're ready for that. Make phantasmic stuff. Not ready for that phantasmic love. Touch, not ready for that stuff, not ready for that phantasmic love, not ready for that, not ready for that.